The air in the ancient ruins felt dead. It had been that way for thousands of years. Commander Allison Wright stepped carefully over a fallen stone column, her boots making soft, crunching sounds on the dusty floor. The beam from her light cut through the darkness, revealing walls covered in strange symbols. "Dr. Martinez, what do you make of these markings?" she asked, pointing her light at a section of wall that seemed less damaged than the rest. Eric Martinez moved closer, his eyes wide with excitement behind his protective mask. The xenoarchaeologist ran his gloved fingers gently over the surface. "Incredible," he whispered. "These are definitely Orasani script. Based on the style, I'd say they're from their late technological period, just before the civilization's collapse." Samantha Kelly joined them, her translator device already scanning the symbols. The linguist had spent years studying extinct alien languages, but the Orasani dialect was particularly challenging. "It's talking about some kind of warning system," she said slowly, frowning at her device. "Something about the preservation of knowledge and lessons learned too late." Lieutenant Nathan Phillips maintained his position at the chamber entrance, weapon ready. His eyes constantly scanned for threats. Even though the Orasys 7 civilization had been dead for over 12,000 years, protocol was protocol. "Commander," he called, "the structural scan is complete. There's another chamber beneath us. It appears to be sealed." Allison nodded, her dark hair falling across her face as she studied the floor plan on her wrist computer. "Good work, Phillips. Let's find a way down." The team had been on Orasys 7 for 3 days now. The United Territories Space Command had sent the interstellar survey vessel Pathfinder to investigate ruins of extinct civilizations across this sector of the galaxy. This was their 5th such mission this year. So far, they had found nothing but dust, decay, and the occasional piece of broken technology. But Orasys 7 felt different. The ruins were better preserved, and unlike other sites, there were no signs of warfare or natural disaster. It was as if the Orasani had simply left. "Over here," Martinez called from across the chamber. "I think I found something." The team gathered around a circular section of floor. Unlike the stone around it, this section had a metallic sheen that had somehow resisted 12 millennia of corrosion. "It's a door," Martinez said, excitement making his voice higher than usual. "And from the looks of it, it was designed to last." Kelly ran her scanner over the unusual metal. "It's still giving off a faint energy signature. Whatever power source they used, it's still functioning after all this time." Phillips knelt down, examining what appeared to be a control panel. "Should I try to open it, Commander?" Allison considered their options. Standard procedure was to document and report before disturbing any major find. But her gut told her this was important. "Do it," she decided. "But everyone stay alert." Phillips nodded and began working on the ancient lock. His background in security systems proved useful as he carefully decoded the opening mechanism. After several tense minutes, there was a low hum, and the metal door slid open with surprising smoothness. Stale air rushed up from the darkness below, carrying the scent of metal and something else, something alien. "Air's breathable," Martinez said, checking his scanner. "Low oxygen levels, but no toxins." Allison took point as they descended a spiral staircase into the chamber below. Their lights revealed a small hexagonal room with smooth walls. Unlike the ruins above, this place looked almost new. In the center of the room stood a pedestal, and on it a crystal object about the size of a human hand. It glowed with a soft blue light. "Some kind of data storage device," Kelly said, her scanner already analyzing it. "Incredibly advanced. The crystalline structure allows for quantum-level information storage." Martinez couldn't contain his excitement. "This is unprecedented. A functioning piece of Orasani technology. Do you know what this means?" "It means we follow protocol," Allison reminded him firmly. "Kelly, can you determine if it's safe to activate?" The linguist worked with her equipment for several minutes before nodding. "It appears to be a message of some kind. No detectable security measures or traps." "Martinez, you're the expert on Orasani tech. Can you activate it safely?" The xenoarchaeologist approached the crystal carefully. "I think so. Their activation systems were usually designed for simplicity. He placed his hand near the crystal, not touching it but hovering just above its surface. The blue glow brightened in response to his presence. Then, suddenly, the light expanded outward, forming a holographic projection that filled the small chamber. Stars appeared around them, a map of the galaxy, with one specific star system highlighted. Then symbols began to form, flowing and changing. "It's cycling through languages," Kelly gasped. "Dozens of them, maybe hundreds. It's trying to communicate in every known language of its time." Finally, the symbols settled into a form that Kelly's translator could partially decipher. Her face grew pale as she read the translation. "What does it say?" Allison asked, noticing the linguist's reaction. Kelly looked up, her eyes wide. "It's a warning about Earth." "Earth? Our Earth?" Phillips asked, disbelief clear in his voice. "Yes," Kelly confirmed. "The star system it highlighted is definitely our solar system. The message reads, 'The ones from Earth, observe from distance. Never approach, never provoke. For your own survival.'" Silence fell over the team as they processed this information. "That's impossible," Martinez finally said. "The Orisani civilization collapsed 12,000 years ago. Humans were still using stone tools then. We wouldn't achieve spaceflight for millennia." "Maybe they weren't talking about humans," Phillips suggested. "Maybe something else lived on Earth back then." Allison stared at the holographic warning, her mind racing. "Or maybe they knew something about us that we don't." The crystal suddenly projected a new image, a series of recordings. Blurry, damaged, but still viewable. They showed primitive humans, barely clothed, wielding simple tools. But they were doing something impossible, dismantling what appeared to be advanced technology. Working together, learning, adapting, and in the final recording, turning that technology against beings that were clearly not human. "My God," Martinez whispered, as the recording ended and the crystal's light dimmed. Allison's communication device beeped, signaling a scheduled check-in with the Pathfinder in orbit. "Commander Wright reporting," she said automatically, her eyes still fixed on the now dormant crystal. "We've found something big." She paused, thinking carefully about her next words. "And I think we need to keep looking. Because if this is true, everything we think we know about human history might be wrong." The main conference room of the Pathfinder was silent, except for the soft hum of the ship's engines. Commander Allison Wright stood beside a holographic display showing the crystal's message about Earth. Around the table sat her team, along with Captain Frank Norris, the ship's commanding officer. "Let me get this straight," Captain Norris said, rubbing his gray beard. "An alien civilization that died out 12,000 years ago left a warning about Earth, when humans were barely figuring out farming?" "That's exactly what we found, sir," Allison replied. She tapped her control pad, and the hologram changed to show the recorded images of primitive humans interacting with alien technology. And there's more. These recordings show early humans somehow defeating visitors with much more advanced technology. Dr. Eric Martinez leaned forward. "The dating is solid, Captain. That crystal has been in that chamber for at least 12,000 years. There's no mistake." Captain Norris frowned. "United Territories Space Command isn't going to like this. It contradicts everything we know about human history." Dr. Samantha Kelly cleared her throat. "Sir, there's something else. The warning wasn't just informational, it had a tone of fear." The room fell silent again as everyone considered the implications. "We need to determine if this was an isolated incident," Allison finally said. "If one civilization left this warning, that's strange enough. But if others did too," Captain Norris nodded slowly, "I'll contact UTSC headquarters. I'm sure they'll want us to investigate further." 3 days later, the Pathfinder received new orders. They were to visit the ruins of 4 more extinct civilizations across the sector to search for similar messages about Earth. Their first stop was a massive gas giant with multiple moons. Orbiting the planet were the remains of artificial structures, the crystalline spires built by the Mariaxis Collective. Once a thriving society that lived in space habitats, the collective had mysteriously vanished about 8,000 years ago. The structures are incredibly beautiful, Martinez said as their shuttle approached one of the larger spires. Even after all this time, the away team docked at an airlock that still functioned. Inside, they found corridors made of a transparent material stronger than steel. The walls seemed to capture starlight and use it to illuminate the interior. According to the historical database, the collective was peaceful, Kelly said as they moved through the structure. They were scientists and artists, no record of warfare in their entire history. Then what happened to them? Lieutenant Phillips asked, his hand resting on his weapon. No one had an answer. In a central chamber, they found what they were looking for, another sealed room, hidden behind walls that appeared ordinary but contained sophisticated locking mechanisms. Inside was a data crystal similar to the one they'd found on Orisus 7. When activated, this crystal also showed star charts pointing to Earth. Its message was slightly different but carried the same warning. The blue world harbors danger. Those who disturb them never return. Preserve yourselves through distance. That's two, Allison said quietly. Their next destination was a desert planet where the once great cities of the Kultar Empire now lay buried under sand. Using ground-penetrating sensors, they located a sealed chamber 30 meters below the surface. The Kultar crystal's message was blunter. Earth species dangerous, adaptable, unpredictable. Avoid contact. The pattern continued at their next two stops. On the ocean world of Vendarian, they found floating ruins with another crystal hidden in a secret chamber. Among the asteroid belt fragments of the Soran technocracy, they discovered a space station that had somehow survived the civilization's collapse. Both contained similar warnings about Earth. Back on the Pathfinder, Dr. Kelly worked day and night, analyzing the messages and creating a timeline. It's incredible, she told the others during their final briefing. These 5 civilizations had no contact with each other. They existed thousands of years apart. Yet they all encountered Earth, and they all left the same warning. Martinez pulled up a holographic display showing the 5 crystals they had found. The technology is different in each case, reflecting each civilization's unique development. But the purpose is identical, to warn others away from Earth. What I don't understand, Philip said, is why these advanced civilizations would be afraid of primitive humans. Kelly pointed to the recording they'd seen on Orisus 7. I've been studying these images carefully. Look at the human's eyes. That's not primitive behavior we're seeing. There's calculation there. Strategy. But the timeline doesn't make sense, Captain Norris argued. Humans didn't have space travel until a few centuries ago. How could we have encountered these civilizations thousands of years ago? Allison had been quiet, thinking. Now she looked up. Unless they came to us. The room fell silent as everyone considered this. Think about it, Allison continued. All 5 civilizations were spacefaring. They could have visited Earth. Maybe for research, maybe for resources. And something went wrong, Martinez finished. According to the Soran data crystal, Kelly said, there's a place called the Repository of Encounters located near the galactic core. It supposedly contains more information about these contacts with Earth. Captain Norris looked troubled. The galactic core is far outside our assigned search area. UTSC would never approve a mission there without substantial evidence. Allison stood up. Then we'll give them substantial evidence. We have 5 independent warnings from 5 different civilizations spanning over 40,000 years of history. All saying the same thing about Earth. She walked to the center of the room, her face illuminated by the glow of the holographic display. Something happened between these advanced civilizations and early humans. Something that frightened them enough to leave warnings that would last for millennia. I think we need to find out what that was. The captain considered her words, then nodded. I'll present your findings to UTSC headquarters. But be prepared for pushback. This challenges everything we think we know about human history. Allison looked around at her team. They had traveled across the sector, explored alien ruins, and discovered a mystery that spanned tens of thousands of years. And they had only scratched the surface. Whatever happened, she said quietly, it was big enough that across every ruin we've found the message about Earth was the same. Don't disturb them. The captain raised an eyebrow. And now we need to find out why. The Pathfinder dropped out of faster-than-light travel with a gentle shudder. Through the bridge view screen, a dense cluster of stars marked the approach to the galactic core. Somewhere among those stars was the repository of encounters mentioned, in the Soren data crystal. Scanners show a small solar system directly ahead, reported the ship's pilot. 1 yellow star, 3 planets. The third planet is giving off artificial energy readings. Commander Allison Wright nodded. After 2 weeks of negotiations with UTSC headquarters, Captain Norris had finally received permission to investigate the repository. The evidence from 5 different extinct civilizations had been too compelling to ignore. Take us in slowly, Captain Norris ordered. Full defensive screens. As they approached the third planet, everyone on the bridge fell silent. Unlike the ruins they had explored before, this world showed signs of active technology. Orbital satellites tracked their approach, though they made no attempt to communicate. It's beautiful, Dr. Martinez whispered. The planet below was covered in silver structures that seemed to grow like massive trees from the surface. They sparkled in the light of the yellow sun. No life signs, Lieutenant Phillips reported, checking his scanner. But I'm detecting massive power signatures. Something down there is still running. Allison turned to Captain Norris. Request permission to lead a team to the surface. The captain hesitated only briefly. Granted, but stay in constant contact. At the first sign of trouble, you come back immediately. The shuttle ride to the surface was tense. Alongside Allison, Martinez, Kelly, and Phillips, 2 additional security officers joined the away team. No one knew what to expect from a facility that had apparently been operating without living occupants for untold millennia. They landed in a clearing surrounded by the silver structures. Up close, they looked like buildings merged with trees, their surfaces etched with flowing patterns that seemed to shift in the sunlight. The air is breathable, Martinez confirmed. Temperature is comfortable. It's almost as if it's been maintained for visitors, Kelly finished. As they stepped out of the shuttle, a soft light began to glow along a path leading toward the largest structure. There was no wind, no sound of animals or insects. Just silence and the waiting path. I think we're being invited in, Allison said. She checked her sidearm, then nodded to the team. Let's not be rude. They followed the illuminated path to the central structure. A doorway opened silently as they approached. Inside, light panels activated, revealing a vast circular chamber. The walls were lined with what appeared to be screens or windows. Currently, in the center of the room stood a simple pedestal. This looks familiar, Martinez said, moving toward the pedestal. Before he could reach it, the room came to life. Lights flashed, and a voice spoke, not in any alien language, but in perfect English. Welcome, visitors from Earth. Your authentication is complete. The team froze. Authentication? Phillips asked, hand moving to his weapon. We didn't provide any authentication. Your genetic profile is sufficient, the voice replied. You are the inheritors. Access granted to all historical records. Allison stepped forward. What is this place? This is the repository of encounters established by the coalition of species who name themselves the Witnessed. I am the caretaker AI, programmed to maintain this facility and provide information to qualified visitors. The screens around the room flickered to life, showing images of various alien species and their spacecraft. The Witnessed? Kelly asked. Who were they? The survivors, the AI replied simply. Those who encountered Earth and lived to document their experiences. Allison felt a chill despite the comfortable temperature. We've found warnings about Earth in the ruins of extinct civilizations. Were they part of this group? No. They did not survive their encounters. The Witness collected their final records and warnings as part of the historical archive. Martinez looked at the screens with wide eyes. How many civilizations encountered Earth? 117 documented encounters over a period, of 227,000 standard years. The team exchanged shocked glances. That's impossible, Kelly whispered. Humans have only been a technological species for a few thousand years. Your understanding is incomplete, the AI responded. Please specify which historical records you wish to access. Allison thought carefully. Show us the earliest documented encounter with Earth. The screens changed to show a lush, prehistoric Earth. The timestamp indicated a period over 200,000 years ago. A sleek spacecraft was shown entering Earth's atmosphere. The Jandari scientific expedition, the AI narrated. A routine survey of developing worlds. Initial scans detected primitive hominids using simple tools. The Jandari established an observation post to study early human development. The images shifted to show tall, slender beings, setting up equipment in a camouflage station. The Jandari observed humans for 3 standard years. They noted unusual cognitive development and social cooperation patterns. On day 156 of their mission, a human hunting party discovered their observation post. The screen showed primitive humans approaching the station cautiously. Initial contact was peaceful. The Jandari offered simple gifts. The humans appeared curious rather than frightened. The next images made Allison's blood run cold. They showed the humans returning the next day with more members of their tribe. They didn't attack the aliens. Instead, they watched. They studied. They learned. Over the next 12 days, the humans visited repeatedly. They observed Jandari technology in operation. They asked to hold tools and devices. The Jandari, believing this harmless cultural exchange, allowed limited access. The final images showed humans using modified versions of Jandari technology, crude but effective adaptations made with stone and wood. On day 173, the humans coordinated an organized approach from multiple directions. They disabled the Jandari security systems using techniques they had observed. Of the 12 Jandari scientists, only 3 escaped to their orbital vessel. Their report became the first entry in what would become this repository. Allison stared at the images. They adapted the alien technology that quickly? How is that possible? Human cognitive architecture is unique, the AI replied. Your species possesses unprecedented neural plasticity and technological adaptation capability. You see, you learn, you replicate. No other known species can reverse engineer unknown technology with such speed and intuitive understanding. Dr. Kelly moved closer to one of the screens. Is that why they feared us? Because we could understand their technology? Partially. But the primary concern was human unpredictability. Most species evolve with consistent behavioral patterns. Humans demonstrate situational adaptation that defies standard predictive models. Martinez looked troubled. You said 117 encounters. What happened in the others? Each followed a similar pattern, though specifics varied. Peaceful first contact, observation period, rapid human adaptation, then unexpected outcomes. The AI paused, as if selecting its words carefully. You must understand. The species that visited Earth were not threatened by human technology, which was primitive by comparison. They were threatened by human potential, the speed with which you could understand, adapt, and improve upon what you encountered. Allison thought about the warnings they had found across the galaxy. Across every ruin, the message about Earth was the same. Don't disturb them. Yes, the AI confirmed, because those who did rarely survived to regret it. The return journey to the Pathfinder was quiet. Each member of the away team was lost in thought, trying to process what they had learned at the repository of encounters. Allison stared out the shuttle window, watching the silver structures shrink beneath them. Her mind kept replaying the images of primitive humans reverse engineering alien technology. Once back aboard the ship, they gathered in the command center to share their findings with Captain Norris. It's extraordinary, the captain said after hearing their report. Are you saying that humans have been interacting with alien visitors for over 200,000 years? That's what the repository records indicate, Allison confirmed. And apparently we've been scaring them away just as long. Dr. Martinez pulled up some of the data they had downloaded from the repository. The AI allowed us to copy certain historical records. Look at this. The main screen displayed a timeline of alien encounters with Earth. Each encounter followed a similar pattern: initial contact, observation period, then rapid human adaptation of alien technology, followed by the visitors, either retreating or in many cases not surviving. The most remarkable thing, Kelly added, is that humans didn't just copy the technology. They improved it, adapted it to their needs using available materials. The repository AI called it unprecedented neural plasticity. In simple terms, Philip said, "We're really good at figuring out how things work, then making them work for us." Captain Norris frowned. "But if this is true, why isn't there any evidence of this on Earth? Where are all these adapted alien technologies in our archaeological record?" "That's the thing," Martinez replied. "According to the repository, most of the technology was biodegradable. It would break down completely within a few decades if not maintained." Allison was about to ask another question when the ship's communication officer interrupted. "Captain, we're receiving an unauthorized transmission from our ship's AI system. It's sending our downloaded data to another vessel." Everyone turned to look at the officer. "What other vessel?" the captain demanded. "The UTSC military ship Vanguard. Sir, it just entered this sector. The transmission contains everything we found at the repository." Lieutenant Phillips moved to a security console and began typing quickly. "I'm detecting a hidden program in our AI system. It looks like it's been there since before we left UTSC headquarters." Captain Norris's face darkened. "Someone at UTSC has been monitoring our progress. But why would they?" He was interrupted by an incoming transmission. The screen showed a stern-faced man in a formal UTSC military uniform, adorned with numerous medals. "Captain Norris," the man said. "Admiral William Porter, UTSC Military Division. Thank you for your excellent work in locating the repository." The captain straightened. "Admiral Porter, we weren't informed that Military Division was involved in this mission." The admiral smiled, but the expression didn't reach his eyes. "Some aspects of your mission were classified, even from you. Now that you've confirmed the existence of alien technology on Earth, we'll take over from here." Allison stepped forward. "Admiral, I don't think you understand what we've discovered. The warnings we found weren't about Earth having dangerous technology. They were about humans being dangerous when given access to any technology." "Precisely, Commander Wright," Porter replied. "And that's exactly what makes this discovery so valuable. If primitive humans could adapt alien technology to defeat more advanced species, imagine what modern humans could do with that same technology." The implication was clear. Porter wasn't concerned about the warnings. He saw them as proof that humans could gain military advantages by recovering ancient alien technology from Earth. "The Vanguard is changing course for Earth," Porter continued. "We'll secure these technological advantages before public disclosure complicates access." The transmission ended abruptly. "He's going to Earth to look for alien technology," Phillips said. "Technology that those alien visitors left behind." Allison felt a chill. If the warnings are true, this could be exactly the kind of provocation that doomed previous visitors. Captain Norris looked troubled. "Are you suggesting that humans on Earth might still have access to adapted alien technology? After all this time?" "I don't know," Allison admitted. "But if there's even a small chance, Porter could be walking into a dangerous situation, and he could be creating a diplomatic incident with an Earth that might be more prepared for visitors than we realize." The captain paced the command center, clearly torn. "We should report this to UTSC headquarters. Let them handle Porter." "With respect, sir," Allison said. "Porter is from headquarters. Who do you think authorized that hidden program in our AI? We can't be sure who to trust." Silence fell over the room as everyone considered the implications. Finally, Martinez spoke up. "What if we go to Earth first? We could warn them about Porter, try to prevent any misunderstanding." "The Vanguard is a military vessel," Phillips pointed out. "It's faster and better armed than the Pathfinder. We'd never beat them there." Kelly, who had been quietly studying the repository data, suddenly looked up. Maybe we could. The repository data mentions a spatial anomaly near the Cygnus arm. It's a sort of shortcut through space. The Mariaxis Collective discovered it but kept it secret from other species. Captain Norris raised an eyebrow. A shortcut? That sounds dangerous. It is, Kelly admitted. The data warns that it's unstable. The journey would be rough, but it could put us near Earth 2 days ahead of the Vanguard. Allison turned to the captain. Sir, we need to try. If Porter starts digging around Earth looking for alien technology, he might trigger exactly the response that these warnings are trying to prevent. Captain Norris looked around at the determined faces of the away team. Then he straightened his uniform and nodded. Plot a course for this spatial anomaly, Commander Wright. But understand that we're taking a big risk. If the warnings are wrong, we're disobeying orders for nothing. If they're right... He paused. Well, let's hope we can reach Earth before Porter does. As the Pathfinder changed course, Allison stared at the star map showing their new destination. She couldn't shake the feeling that they were heading toward a confrontation that had been building for thousands of years. The words from the crystal echoed in her mind. Don't disturb them. She just hoped they weren't too late to stop Porter from doing exactly that. The journey through the spatial anomaly was worse than anyone had expected. The Pathfinder shuddered violently as strange energies bent the space around it. Warning alarms blared throughout the ship. Crew members held on to their stations as the vessel was thrown about like a leaf in a storm. In the command center, Allison gripped her console tightly. Structural integrity at 60%, she called out over the noise. We're taking damage to the outer hull. Captain Norris remained calm despite the chaos. Keep her steady. We're almost through. After what felt like hours but was actually only minutes, the ship burst free from the anomaly. The violent shaking stopped, replaced by the occasional tremor as the damaged systems struggled to stabilize. Location? The captain asked. The navigation officer checked her readings. We're in the Sol system, sir. Just beyond the orbit of Mars. The anomaly put us right where we wanted to be. Allison allowed herself a small smile. And the Vanguard? No sign of them on long-range scanners. We made it ahead of Porter. The victory was short-lived. As they approached Earth orbit, they detected something unexpected. Captain, Phillips said from the security station, I'm picking up multiple objects in Earth orbit. They don't match any known UTSC designs. On the main screen, strange satellite platforms appeared. They were clearly artificial but incorporated elements that looked distinctly alien. Yet there was something oddly familiar about their design. They're defense platforms, Allison realized. But those components, they look like modified versions of technologies we saw in the repository records. Sorin energy projectors, Mariaxis shield generators, all adapted into a human design. Are they active? Captain Norris asked. They appear to be dormant, Phillips replied. But they're scanning us. Kelly studied the readings from her station. The architecture is remarkable. It's as if someone took pieces from a dozen different alien technologies and combined them into something new. Something distinctly human. Martinez looked pale. All this time, Earth had orbital defenses with alien technology, and no one in UTSC knew. Sir, the communications officer interrupted. We're receiving a transmission from Earth. Text only. The message appeared on the main screen. Unidentified vessel, you have entered protected space. State your identity and purpose immediately. Captain Norris glanced at Allison, then responded. This is Captain Frank Norris of the UTSC vessel Pathfinder. We come with important information regarding a potential threat to Earth. There was a long pause before another message appeared. Prepare to receive coordinates for landing. You may bring a small team only. Weapons will not be necessary. The coordinates led them to a remote mountain region in what was once called Colorado. As their shuttle descended through the atmosphere, they saw a facility built into the mountainside. It was largely hidden from view, with only a small landing pad visible from the air. It looks like a military installation, Phillips noted. But it's not on any UTSC maps, Allison added. When their shuttle landed, they were met by a small group of people dressed in simple gray uniforms with no insignia. They were led by a tall woman with short gray hair and piercing blue eyes. "I am Olivia Grant," she introduced herself. "Leader of Earth's Defense Council. You mentioned a threat to Earth. Please follow me." She led them through a series of corridors carved into the mountain. Allison couldn't help but notice that much of the technology around them seemed like advanced versions of Earth designs, but with subtle differences that suggested alien influence. They entered a large room that appeared to be a command center. On screens around the room, they could see various locations around Earth, along with real-time data from the orbital platforms they had detected earlier. "The Defense Council has existed for thousands of years," Grant explained, noticing their confused expressions. "Our purpose has remained the same throughout human history: to protect Earth from outside interference while guiding our own development." "Thousands of years?" Martinez asked incredulously. "That's impossible. Human civilization isn't that old." Grant smiled slightly. "Human civilization as taught in your schools isn't, but Earth's true history is much longer and more complex." She activated a holographic display in the center of the room. It showed Earth as it was hundreds of thousands of years ago. Earth was designated as an evolutionary preserve by the first interstellar civilization to achieve faster-than-light travel. They seeded many worlds with life, but humans were special, designed with enhanced neural plasticity and adaptive capabilities. Allison remembered what the repository AI had told them. "The ability to understand and improve upon any technology we encounter." "Exactly," Grant nodded. "It's our defining trait as a species. We weren't primitive by accident. Our development was carefully managed to allow our adaptive abilities to mature naturally." Phillips frowned. "But the warnings across the galaxy, the civilizations that went extinct after encountering Earth? Not all visitors respected our boundaries," Grant said. "Those who came with peaceful intent and observed from a distance were left alone. Those who tried to interfere or exploit..." She paused. "Well, they provided valuable learning opportunities." Allison suddenly understood. "You studied their technology, adapted it, used it against them if necessary. And afterward, we sent agents out to place warnings," Grant confirmed. "To protect other species from making the same mistake. It was kinder than allowing them to meet the same fate." Captain Norris looked troubled. "And all this time UTSC had no idea. We thought we were the first humans to reach the stars." "You were the first in recent history," Grant replied. "We allowed conventional space programs to develop naturally once humans had reached the right technological level. The Defense Council operates in secret, interfering only when necessary." Allison was about to ask another question when an alarm sounded. One of Grant's staff approached quickly. "The Vanguard has entered the system. They're ignoring our hails and proceeding directly to Earth orbit." "Admiral Porter," Allison explained quickly. "He's coming to look for alien technology. He thinks he can gain military advantages for UTSC." Grant didn't look concerned. "We detected his approach through the regular space lanes. He'll find exactly what we want him to find." On the main screen, they watched as the Vanguard entered Earth orbit. Almost immediately, the defense platforms that had been dormant during the Pathfinder's approach activated. They surrounded the military vessel, glowing with energy. "We're receiving a transmission from the Vanguard," said one of Grant's staff. "Admiral." Porter's face appeared on screen, now looking considerably less confident. "What is the meaning of this? I demand an explanation." "This is Earth's Defense Council," Grant replied calmly. "Your intentions have been analyzed and found hostile. Stand down and prepare to be escorted from Earth space." Porter looked shocked. "Earth has no Defense Council. This is a UTSC matter." Grant cut him off. "Earth was managing visitors from the stars long before UTSC existed, Admiral. Observe if you wish, learn if you must, but do not interfere. This is our only warning." The transmission ended. On the screen, they could see energy fields surrounding the Vanguard, disabling its weapons and engines. Allison turned to Grant. "What will happen to them?" "They'll be allowed to leave once we've removed their sensor data and explained the new reality. Earth will continue to participate in UTSC, but certain boundaries must be respected." Captain Norris looked at Grant with new understanding. Across every ruin, the message about Earth was the same. Don't disturb them. Now we know why. Grant nodded. Because we were never primitive. We were never helpless. We were simply waiting, growing, learning. And now the time has come for humanity to reveal its true place in the galaxy, not as newcomers, but as caretakers of a legacy, as old as interstellar travel itself.